I can be a CA maybe, I could be a marketer, or I could be an SDR. Most college people, myself included, didn't know that SDR even exists as a job. Everything sort of happened around me. It wasn't necessarily something that I looked forward to or enjoyed. But school was more like a means to an end. You have to do this in order to get to the next phase of life. It wasn't so much, oh, I'm really keen to go to class today. I'm really keen to meet ma'am today and show her my assignment. Frankly, I was not that bothered, to be honest. I was more bothered with the co-curriculars. I was very big in the debates and the quiz sections and stuff like that. Played a lot of sports, and I think that sort of aspects were way more fun to me, as probably with everybody, than the actual academics itself. And I think that kind of translated as well into my, scholastic achievements or lack thereof. I think I even got conditionally promoted from 7th to 8th grade, which basically means the government will not allow you to fail below 8th grade. I knew school was not going to be a path for me. That style of learning doesn't work. So from that point on, I started figuring out, okay, what style of learning works for me? What are the things I want to learn? And what are the things I can learn with the style that I have, For me, I decided I want to go to the most outlandish place I could. Some place I won't fit in at all. Some place where I know nobody, I like sort of that challenge. So I went to Jain College, Jayanagar. And it was a great experience. I was actually there for my undergrad, and I was there for my PUC as well. So I spent 5 years there. And I absolutely love the college, but I wouldn't recommend anybody else go there. I had low attendance, surprise, surprise, And my college actually was fairly reasonable with attendance. They said, you guys have to keep a 75% attendance. And if you keep a 75% attendance and you attend the placements, you can sit for as many placements as you want, right? It's not a problem. But if you have less than 75% attendance, and I go and sit for one company and they say, yes, I want Ryan, then I have to go with them. Otherwise, I don't get placed by the college. So I found a company that was interviewing close to my house. And they had 4 plus 4 lakh offer, which was for, I think they called it a sales catalyst role at the time. The term SDR was not even there. The term is sales catalyst. And I went there for an interview. And I got in. I don't know, I'm as baffled as you guys are, right? So when I ended up joining this particular company, it was just, they were hiring freshers. And then I started reading a bit more about sales careers because this was a sales job. And I was finding out that salespeople earn 2 salaries. Every salesperson, right? There's the base salary and then there's the incentive. I personally can't think of another job where you get 2, separate salaries. So that was very interesting to me. And I thought, let me see what I can make of this. And I failed every single day for a year and 4 months. Every single day. I was in my first company for a year and 4 months. There was no chance of a raise. They didn't even talk about that. They would compensate the SDRs based on closures, which is not particularly fair since I'm not able to close the deal myself, if you look at it that way. Then I got in touch with one of the great sales leaders, Rahul Wadhwa. He reached out to me at the time. He was the sales manager at Slintel. And he says, you got to come work for me. I think we had a couple of chats and he had heard a little bit about me, but he really took a gamble on me. He was willing to, say, okay, let's see what this guy has to offer. And I joined his team and he just said, whatever you want to do, but book meetings for me. Honestly, what I did to make myself get to any level was to literally do the opposite of what I did in my first job, right? They said, okay, we're going to send out these emails, for example, and they're very standardized. They didn't believe in updating them. They didn't believe in personalization. It was all at scale. So that sort of led to us being a little bit unhappy there. So then conversely, so when I joined the Slintel organization, I was able to work with some of the best reps in the country, right? And honestly, my first year there was just spent soaking up everything these people had to offer me, whether it was, somebody who's great at cold calls. I was learning about cold calls from him. I was learning about discovery from people like Anupreet, right? All of these people really helped me a lot. So if I have to attribute anything of going to any list or being on any 30 under 30 or anything for that matter, it's all because of the great people who I was around, and it's all because of their willingness to kind of train me and upskill me. I will always be willing to do what other people aren't. I've figured out that there are people who have more skills than me, but they're not willing to do the things I am, right? I'm willing to look stupid. In fact, that's one of the things I'm more willing to do than pretty much anything, right? I'm willing to look very dumb. I'm willing to take a risk. I'm willing to get called out by my sales leader for maybe taking a risk at trying to get in a prospect. If it worked, he would have thanked me, but if it doesn't, I'll have to take the heat. For me, one of my barometers is I have an 11-year-old nephew. If he doesn't understand what I'm selling, nobody will understand what I'm selling. So if I had to explain an SDR job to a 5-year-old, I would tell them that just imagine you have a product or a service that you want to sell. To initially set up that meeting where you can talk about your product and exactly what it does, you need somebody to do that. Those calls, those emails, those LinkedIn reach outs. That's the job of an SDR. In my first company, if I was asked to test out a series of emails to a prospect, they would ask me to test it out on only 20 out of 100 prospects, so 20% of the leads I was given. In the new company that I joined, when I joined Slintel, they literally told me, do whatever you want with these prospects. I'm giving you all these prospects. If you don't like these prospects, go find whatever prospects you think will book meetings. You reach out to them however you want. This is your quota, book the meeting, see you later. And that was it. That was the best thing they could have done for me. It was just, in some ways, it's like a push you off the edge thing. And I remember, and to his credit again, I asked Rahul, is it okay if I send this? He said, you should never ask me this question again, is it okay? Right? It's like you asking me, is it okay if I book this meeting? Is it okay if I give a lot of efforts to book this meeting? Yeah, it's okay, do it. So that was something that stood out to me a lot. And when I was actually being appreciated, when I was actually being like, oh, you have a skill set that I want to tap into, I want to help you develop yourself. I think when my leadership showed, an interest in developing me, that's when I showed an interest in developing myself. And that's when the organization started getting better. That's when I started getting better. That's when all of our emails started getting better. Our outreaching process started getting better. The team started getting better. Meetings, and it was just a very positive snowball effect, right? And it all starts from the top. I'm a big believer in that great management, great leadership, all of that, and the stick-to-itive mindset, the not give up thing, that only can start from the top, right? It's a culture that you create at the end of the day. And I was just lucky to be part of a great culture. It always helps when you have a good product to sell, right? I think most of the SaaS products nowadays are quite good. That's why a lot of the companies now we work with Sama are SaaS companies. And it's just because it's a very growing industry. It's a place where a lot of the very talented founders, right? The talented founders of India who have built and maybe had successful exits, they're all building SaaS products, right? They either have built or they are building SaaS products. It's just the future of the landscape, right? And where SDRs fit into that is at the very top of the funnel. You can be the best, most skilled founder from IIT. You can develop the best product. But if you don't have a great outbound team, if you don't have a great account executive team, nobody is ever going to become your customer, right? So you're basically helping get their product into their market's hands, right? And that's your job as an SDR. That's where you fit into the SaaS ecosystem. So I would be basically sending an email saying, hey, this is what we could do. Noticed you might be in this space and facing XYZ issues. Maybe it's worth a quick chat. And setting up that quick chat and letting them know that a solution like this exists for a problem they may be potentially facing, that's very exciting, and that's what brings them in for the calls eventually. The SaaS space in general is in a very, very healthy space right now. I think we noticed that even when the markets were down, even throughout the pandemic and stuff like that, a lot of people in the SaaS industry actually did still keep their jobs. Not only that, a lot of SaaS companies still did raise funding. They were still very profitable as well, right? They just pivoted to a work from home model. So I think the state of SaaS and the state of sales and the state of SDRs in India is very healthy. We just need to keep it growing, right? We need to keep getting people interested. We need to get the next generation of people who are passing through college right now. We need them to say, okay, I can be a CA maybe, I could be a marketer, or I could be an SDR. Most college people, myself included, didn't know that SDR even exists as a job. That's something which needs to change. So I don't think it's a skill level, because most of us Indians are very skilled, but we don't have the mindset as a culture, that looks at sales positively. And I think if we could change that, we're going places. Typically, you imagine sales is a bunch of people in a call center making calls, right? We all receive the Access Bank calls. Hi, sir, you have your pre-approved credit card. Hi, sir, I'm calling from our academy. Would you like to buy our course? They're not reaching out to me with any radical method. If I speak to you 5 years from now, we're still going to be getting those same banking calls. We're still going to be receiving those same calls from the ed tech sector, right? Nothing has changed. It's a dormant sector where people don't move on. And why? They learn bad sales technique, right? They don't believe in adding value. They believe in just making the sale and moving on, right? the way SaaS works, and I think the SaaS as an industry even has understood that it's far cheaper to retain a customer than it is to get a new one. But what sales is actually is reaching out not to 100 people, but reaching out to 5 and booking meetings with 4, right? When you're reaching out to people who actually need what you're offering, that's when you see these kind of numbers, right? When you're reaching out to them with messaging that is relevant, and not only relevant, but current to them, that is very useful as well. And I think we see so many people who have great skills in the B2C space who are just wasting their days not actually able to employ any of those skills because they're just following, let's say, maybe a cold call talk script that they're forced to follow, right? Or their banking call script which they're forced to sell, right? Imagine just removing all of those constraints from these people, giving them a market to go after and saying, go book your meetings. That's where we would see all the talent rise to the top. So no, I don't believe there's a lack of talent. I believe there's a lack of direction for the talent. I think the talent ends up in the wrong place, and that's something we're looking to rectify. I've also co-founded a company called Sama School, which is the reason I'm here today. And we basically want to find people who have the skills, who have what it takes, who are maybe earning 3.25 lakhs per year, right? We want to try and get them placed in the B2B SaaS space. We want to get them working with sophisticated sales leaders, teaching them sophisticated sales processes, and making a hell of a lot more money, right? So Sama is basically for people who are in the B2C space right now, who maybe want to sell something more sophisticated. Maybe they're being micromanaged a lot, and they want to work under some actual sales leaders who come with a lot of industry pedigree, who have actually done it for many years. It comes with people who want to upskill themselves, people who want to make more money, people who want to grow in their careers very quickly. If any of these things sound like something you want to do, then Sama School is likely the place for you. We take a lot of responsibility with where we're placing people and with what we're teaching them. We're making sure that we're bringing in the best sales leaders, not only from India, but from all over the globe, to make sure that the upskilling happens correctly. We're also making sure that the companies that we place the reps in, they're ethical companies. They're selling with the same values that we believe in. And they're also selling based on value, right? They'll never sell and put people into debt, which is what, unfortunately, I know it sounds crazy, but it's what a lot of B2C reps are unfortunately taught, and it's what they do day in and day out. We're trying to disrupt that entire pattern. And literally people within 4 or 5 years of starting an SDR role can be making easily 60, 70, 80 lakhs per year as a VP sales, as a VP marketing, as a VP customer success, whatever it may be. Whether you want to end up in CS, marketing, or sales, you can start that with an SDR journey. That's why an SDR's place is a great springboard for all of these people who already have sales experience, who are already willing to make cold calls. You guys are probably making 100 cold calls a day. Make 50 good ones for me, don't make 100, right? Make 10 good ones for me, right? That's what the B2B industry will tell you, right? That's what the SaaS industry will tell you. And that's why it's a much more positive place for up and coming reps in India to be. And Sama School is going to be a bridge for these guys to get them there, right? So that's like essentially how we pitch ourselves and how we position ourselves in the market. And honestly, I don't know, I can't speak about my co-founder this way, but if we get beaten out because of competition, that's the best thing that could ever happen, because we believe in this space, right? We believe in this industry. We believe we're doing well for people. We're doing good for all the people, all their households, and a lot of lives are being touched by exactly what we're doing. And if we get beat out, then so be it. But we want other people to do exactly what we're doing and deliver the same value that we're delivering.